Redskins won the toss. They defer. The Eagles will receive. All-time meeting between these two on Monday Night Football, and the Eagles have won 4 straight Monday Nighters against Washington. Dustin Hopkins has 42 touchbacks this year on his 53 kickoffs, as Corey Clement will see if he gets a chance. So here comes Carson Wentz. He says time to stop talking about last year and focus in on these next 5.
This is a different season, different year, different team. Feel free to have your own doubts, whatever you want, but we know what we're capable of. Now it's just time to try and go shock some people. We're going to play a couple of NFC East opponents here and see what we're made of.
Had a great visit with him the other day talking about the comeback win in the second half against the Giants. He says it speaks volumes about the confidence they feel right now.
Yeah, he feels like that second half has really ignited him to get on the run here.
And he's going to start off with a completion to his favorite target, Zach Ertz.
Surprise, surprise. He went to Ertz. These two, though, they have chemistry. They understand each other. And that's his target. And it's important for the Eagles to start fast. 9 of their 11 games, they have not scored in the first quarter. They've been aware of that, and they know that they got to get off to a good start.
Rookie running back Josh Adams in the backfield with Wentz. And the rookie is the local kid. He's born in North Philly. Played at Central Bucks High School, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Now, Wentz told us, he said, listen, we still believe, we're resilient, and we have confidence.
Yeah, and you know, he hasn't looked like he did last year as MVP candidate, but last week he found that rhythm in that second half against the Giants, and he's hoping he can build on that.
2nd and 5 as he gives to Adams. Will gain just a yard. The 3rd and 4. So I told you, Adams, local kid, is a rookie free agent, has emerged as the top running back. They've been dealing with injuries at running back as well. He's waived in early September, then was on the practice squad, and then activated week 3, and onward he's gotten better.
Yeah, he's taken advantage of his opportunity. His last couple of weeks, he's really got in the mix here. He's a high runner. He runs high, but he's more inside zone. He can hit the hole one cut. He's kind of a Adrian Peterson. That style of running, that's how he wants to attack. He can get up on these linebackers.
Fits back into the backfield on 3rd and 4. As fighting for the extra yardage was Alshon Jeffrey.
You know, that's what Alshon Jeffrey can do, guys. He's not a blazer down the field, but the tough physical catches coming across the middle, he can do this for you all day long. This, along with the 50-50 balls, is how they have to get Alshon Jeffrey involved in this offense.
And Josh Norman just needs a tackle. That was the problem last week. They didn't tackle well going against the Cowboys. We saw Amari Cooper take the slant and go 80-plus yards for a touchdown. They have got to tackle once they complete these passes.
False start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Of course, the Eagles have the bookend tackles Johnson and Peters. And in the skill positions, Ertz, the main target of this offense. Then they acquired Golden Tate in the trade just before the deadline with the Lions. You see that little symbol there, as Ertz will be wearing the Monday Night mic tonight. Look forward to hearing Zach Ertz throughout the game.
And Golden Tate, he's lined up right here. He's got to get going. They make the trade. He's really good run after catch, but he hasn't found his way since he's been over here with the Eagles.
Only 11 catches in the last 3 games with the Eagles. 1st and 15 after the penalty as Wentz continues to extend, and then somehow the beautiful touch pass as the ball comes loose and then goes out of bounds. Golden Tate in stride. It goes for 22 yards. It was Zach Brown who forced it out at the end there.
Yeah, they're faking the jet sweep to him. He's really, Carson's trying to keep it alive. He's telling Golden, keep running, keep running. Shows you, though, I mean, you know, in that second half against the Giants, we saw vintage Carson Wentz. And I think he's got some confidence as he enters tonight.
As that is caught on the slant to Ertz. This is the matchup that we're going to be keying in on. Ertz against the safety, DJ Swearinger.
Yeah, that's a tough challenge for Swearinger. I mean, he's going to have to come down. You know, I went against Swearinger a lot. And you play off coverage like that, it's going to be really difficult because this run-pass option, it's quick routes. And the chemistry that these two have, Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz, I think you really got to get on their face. You got to challenge him at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 4. 7th play of this opening drive. Adams probing and then getting to the outside. Josh Adams as he stiff arms his way beyond Greg Stroman for 11 yards.
Well, this is what you're going to see out of Josh Adams. He wants to come downhill. Now, he has the speed to bounce it outside. He's a bigger back, but he does have elusiveness getting outside. Outside on the edges is where you want to attack this Washington defense. You want to make 54 Mason Foster and number 53 Zach Brown. You want to make them run.
You know what? Earlier tonight you talked about the struggles for Philadelphia this year. They've been playing from behind. This is an opportunity to have a really good cash-it-in opening drive. They've been scoreless in the first quarter in their last 5 games. Adams trying to solve that as the whistle comes in and you see them pointing to the ground.
Runner
So
was
the
ruled
ball
down by contact.
is
Second
not
down.
out. He's down by contact after 8 yards. There is Doug Peterson, year number 3.
And that's the right attack that he has, Doug Peterson, this style offense. I mean, Adams is in between the tackles runner. The problem with that is you look across the way, Payne, Jonathan Allen, they're big, thick, two-gapping defensive linemen, so you're not going to run it inside. So if he's going to give it in there, he has to then cut to the outside like we've seen on these last 2 runs. That's the formula for this Eagles offense.
The Bama boys, Payne and Allen inside for Washington. 2nd and 2. Clement. Ball comes out again as he was wrestled down by Moreau.
You see Minuski there. He's the defensive coordinator. Usually he has that medium shirt on. He looks like he can still play. And Doug Peterson, that's going to be the battle of how you change it up. And one of the things I look for Minuski to do tonight is bring pressure inside, in between the tackles, potentially right over the top of the ball, because if you come on the outside, it doesn't really affect Carson because he can get the ball out quick. Bringing it inside really affects him. He has trouble with that.
3rd and 1. Clement. He is met and then gets an extra push and goes ahead for the 1st down. That's big Jason Peters with 328 pounds giving him some help there.
And Clement, he's just dancing around. You got to hit it. It's 3rd and 1. Stop dancing and put it in there. Fortunately for him, Peters, the big fella, just gives him a nice push in the back. But, you know, these backs are still young. They're finding their way in this system. They have brought some juice to them. It's important to have that running game going for the Eagles.
And down here by the goal line is where I think they should give Alshon Jeffrey a ball. Throw it up to him. He's 6'4". Give him a 50-50 ball. Let him make a play against Josh Norman at some point.
Bottom of your screen there is Jeffrey. Instead, they're going to run it. And Adams will get to the 6-yard line as he is taken down by Swearinger.
You know, the running game is so important for Doug Peterson. It's a rhythm-based offense. Not that they want to do a ton of it, but it sets up everything else they want to do in this offense. The run-pass options, the play action, those are the big plays because they don't have that big threat over top that can stretch the field.
So what does it set up here on 2nd and goal?
I think it's got some play action potential. So, of course, Zach Ertz, you know, Golden Tate being in the slot, he's got big physical hands. He's a guy to keep an eye on as they want to try to get him going.
Here's Wentz to the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown by Golden Tate. his first touchdown as an Eagle.
You know, Jess, that's the thing that makes Carson Wentz who he is. He's calm in the pocket, but he's got the ability to extend the play and just enough of athletic ability to find Golden Tate in the back of the end zone. We thought Deshaun Watson was Houdini. Carson Wentz has got a little bit in him too, Jess.
Remember, we said they have been scoreless in the first quarter in our last 5 games. What a change on a 12-play drive that went nearly 7.5 minutes.
Look at the run I had to get to the spot. Look at the form I had to hit me a shot.
This is what happened before tonight's national anthem, as there was a moment of silence for President George H.W. Bush, who died at age 94 on Friday. Today, the 41st president, deeply passionate sports fan, left his beloved Texas for the final time, heading to Washington, D.C., Alliance State at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda before his funeral services on Wednesday. President Bush loved his Houston sports teams, served our country. He's one of the youngest Navy pilots in history. He was only 19 years old when he was flying those combat missions in World War II. Here comes Colt McCoy, a proud Texan, and he knows this is his chance.
This league is all about opportunity. I've been on the bench for a long time. I feel comfortable in this system, and I trust him. I'm going to let the ball fly. It's football. We just got to go strap it up and play.
So the starter, Alex Smith, suffers the broken leg on November 18th. In steps Colt McCoy, 9th year in the league, played against Dallas last week, threw 3 picks, was sacked 3 times in that loss. And as he tried to check down to the veteran Adrian Peterson, and a flag is down. We got Tony Corrente heading up this crew.
Holding, offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty, and repeat, first down.
You know, Colt McCoy takes over. He's a real solid backup. I think a lot of Redskins fans thought when Alex Smith went down that they were out of it. That's not the case. He's been in this offensive system of Jay Gruden for the last 5 years. He's confident in it. I experienced it playing against him in 2014, you know, when he started and just put on a clinic. And so he's embracing this moment. It feels like he's rejuvenated his career. And I tell you what, every backup quarterback, they dream of having a chance of going in there with playoff implications on the line.
Now, you're not going to forget that 2014 Monday night or anytime soon, are you? As tackled for a loss was Peterson. Michael Bennett getting into the backfield.
But in saying all that, it's tough to come on the road. You know, you have penalties early. You cannot do that. That is not the formula for this offense. You know, this is a tough environment to play in. They're a passionate crowd. They're intense here in Philly. You know, they got reputation back in the day. They booed Santa Claus, you know, and look.
Well, they booed 82 a pretty good bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Second and 22, heading in the wrong direction, as Chris Thompson will get the carry here, and he is taken down hard at the 20 after a gain of 7. Thompson, back from injury himself, has missed 6 games this year with broken ribs.
And that should give Colt McCoy a lot of confidence, getting Chris Thompson. I mean, he had a phenomenal year last year as that scat back, you know, and he's quick. As a receiver, that's the best thing he does, out of the backfield. But he also can run those draws and get you back on track. Jamison Crowder in the slot and Chris Thompson, those are going to be key factors for Colt McCoy in this offense.
Not doing Santa now, Whit. He's getting loud for a 3rd and 15.
And the guards from the Washington Redskins have got to protect.
3rd and 15. And so they're going to go with Thompson again, as it is hard hitting to start things off with this Philly defense. That was Fletcher Cox and Malcolm Jenkins colliding on Thompson.
That's not the start you want for Washington. You know, you look at these guys and they cannot have penalties. It's going to crush them.
Darren Sproles, who's been dealing with a hamstring injury, hadn't practiced since November 7th, came back to practice this week, but not a game action since week number 1. Got injured against Atlanta. As Tressway on to punt. Here's Sproles from the 12. as he has met at about the 16. So Carson and company ready to get back out there after he went 5 of 5 and had the touchdown pass on his first drive. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Live like a pro. Lincoln Financial Field for Monday Night Football. Critical game between the Eagles and the Skins. Coming down the home stretch of this season with playoff position. Second drive for the Eagles after Golden Tate had the touchdown reception. Wentz was flawless to open things up. Josh Adams, cutback lane, and it works.
We talked about this being a rhythm-based offense. Getting the running game going and it being effective then opens up the play action. And Carson Wentz extending plays, using his legs, finding his guy Golden Tate. Lane Johnson understands that when Carson Wentz gets on the edge, just keep blocking. He's a playmaker, and he'll find guys.
Good connection went outside the pocket on that first drive of Wentz to Tate. That's where he got the 2 receptions for 25 yards and the touchdown. 2nd and 4, and it's incomplete as he was looking for the rookie tight end Dallas Goedert. As for the veteran tight end, Zach Ertz is wearing the Monday Night mic.
Great job, kid. Hey, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. Yeah, I don't know how you threw that.
He made it too long. All right.
That's trust, big boy.
You know, and that's how those guys do it. You see the right back next to each other. Wentz and Ertz have a very close relationship. 3rd and 4 with Darren Sproles in the game as the running back. As Sproles is clogged up right away by Mason Foster, hitting up that run and making the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
And that's what Mason Foster wants to do. He wants to come downhill. He doesn't want to go sideline to sideline. He's a big, thick, 2-gap linebacker. Nice feel of the hole there by Foster.
Yeah, and if you're Philadelphia, you got to throw the ball there. I mean, you got the early lead. Keep the pedal down. Don't let up here in the first quarter. 3rd and 4, I would not run the ball between the tackles with Sproles. I'd get him out in space and get my passing game going.
So the Aussie Cameron Johnston on to punt. And Stroman feels it and was able to keep his balance but not get to the edge. Good coverage by Hall. 49-yard punt with no return. During tonight's Genesis halftime show, the exclusive trailer debut for Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel. That'll be in theaters March 8th. I like that, the exclusive trailer debut at halftime. Play action, McCoy, and wide open and complete to Doxson.
Well, that's what they have to do, Joe. They got to get their play action going. They don't really have a wide receiver 1. Doxson is brought in here, 1st-round pick. They've got to attack these defensive backs for Philadelphia. They're beat up. And Colt McCoy, he feels comfortable in that, you know, being in the pocket, attacking Douglas on the outside. These corners, they have not held up throughout the last 3 or 4 weeks.
32-yard catch for the birthday boy. Today is Josh Doxson's 26th birthday. Here's the pitch to Thompson as he's chopped down at the line of scrimmage by Rasul Douglas. Mentioned that it was Doxson's birthday. And you know our guys are always digging for the great family photos. Right, guys? They said we came up with one. We found a birthday photo for Doxson. As the receiver's screen this time goes nowhere. Has a loss of 1, in fact, as Douglas comes up with the play.
That's a good play by Douglas, getting out there and playing a little bit press and getting aggressive. Trent Williams, the left tackle, he's an athletic guy. He's trying to get out there and kick it out, but Douglas jumped on it, putting the Redskins in 3rd and long. That's a challenge for Jim Schwartz. When you do that with a backup quarterback and keep this crowd involved. Having success early, the Eagles.
3rd down and 11. McCoy unable to connect with Crowder, and a flag comes in. LeBlanc had the coverage, and he's incredulous to the penalty flag.
Pass interference, defense number 34. The ball's placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
The automatic first down on 3rd and 11.
Well, they're going to motion Crowder inside, but see how far these guys are playing off? It's 3rd and 10, but they get to a bunch, and then they keep backing up. He gets the leverage because of the stem of the release. And you got to come up and challenge those guys. You can't give them free releases and allow them to capture the outside.
Jeremy Sprinkle, who motions back into the backfield, big 250-pound tight end, as they will run it with Peterson. And the 33-year-old Adrian Peterson goes for 5 as another flag comes in from Corrente's crew. Corrente, who officiated Super Bowl 41, Boog.
Legal use of the hands to the face. Defense number 53. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Perhaps you remember, Boog, that Colts victory on that day. Let's look at the lineups for Washington. Remember, both starting guards at the beginning of the season out. Laval and Sheriff, that is a concern. Then Jordan Reed, such a weapon.
Yeah, Jordan Reed's the guy. He's leading the team in catches. He has unique quickness in and out of his cuts for a big physical guy. Not only him, but Doxson's got to step up. He's got to make the plays on the outside when it's single high coverage.
Here's Peterson, unable to get past Nathan Gary. Gary, who has only made 3 career starts prior to tonight.
You know, they do this run-pass option play there, which is what they're mixing in a little bit with Alex Smith, but it really doesn't fit what Adrian does well. I mean, Adrian's kind of dots the I in the back, kind of one cut and hits it. I mean, he is explosive, and at his age, he can still go. He's a straight-line speed guy. He's tough to tackle, but you saw in that last one, he just doesn't find those holes in that RPO game.
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
That Eagles defense, Boog, it's all about what's up front.
Well, no doubt about it. That's where their money is, Tess, with Jernigan, Cox, Graham, Michael Bennett, Long, those guys. They protect the back end. Their linebackers have been struggling in coverage, and we talked about it ad nauseum. On the back end, they played the last week out their top 5 corners. They got number 6 hurt. They're at a disadvantage on the back end. It's up for the front 4 tonight to get to the quarterback and make life tough for Colt McCoy.
Yeah, and they get these wide 9 techniques. It makes life miserable for the tight ends and the tackles. They get wide, and they pin their ears back.
2nd and 14. McCoy able to escape Cox, and then goes down as charging up was Jenkins.
And you bring up that defensive line, Tess. Inside, Fletcher Cox, Michael Bennett, just coming inside. Fletcher Cox is not a flashy rusher. He's going to use a lot of power, just pressing, just fighting through, but he's going to collapse the pocket. And when he does that, now Michael Bennett and Chris Long can come in from the outside. They do a very nice job of working off of each other. Cox, Bennett, and also Chris Long.
End of 1. Redskins offense hasn't scored a first quarter touchdown now in their last 5 games. Beautiful night in Philly. Really mild weather for this time of the year. Monday Night Football with the Eagles leading 7-0 against the division rival Skins, and facing a 3rd and 20 is Colt McCoy as he checks down to Chris Thompson, and another flag is down, this back at the 30-yard line.
illegal block in the back. Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty and repeat. Third down.
Just can't have it, though. You're just trying to get a quick screen out there to Thompson. It's low risk. Get 6-8 yards. Give yourself a chance for a field goal. Instead, you have a penalty there because your tackle's trying to come out and make the block. You have to know the situation.
Well, number 71, Trent Williams, has been banged up, and his athletic ability is limited. So I got to think that's hampering him from getting outside, making those blocks. He's the best left tackle in the game when healthy, but even he can't get out there when he's hurting.
But in that moment, just take the yards. It's more important than getting that block because you're in field goal range.
On 3rd and 30 as he just goes underneath to Crowder and makes his way back to the 26-yard line, tackled by Jenkins. And you see a little limp out of Colt McCoy. Now, Mark Sanchez was signed as the backup to McCoy. This was moments ago. As you see his leg hitting the left knee of Jenkins. And reach down that shin area.
Yeah, that can't feel good, Tess.
No, not with all that momentum. So Hopkins comes on for the 44-yard attempt. And he's been bothered this year by a groin injury. That was a couple of weeks ago. Visited with him last night. He's feeling much better. And Washington gets on the board with a field goal from Hopkins. Saturday night on ESPN at 8 Eastern, it is the 84th annual Heisman Trophy presentation from New York. Of course, finalists all had outstanding seasons. Tua Tagovailoa, the Alabama quarterback, got injured in the SEC title game. Kyler Murray from Oklahoma. They're going to be playing against each other in that Capital One Orange Bowl in the CFP semifinal. And Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State. By the way, Jalen Hurts, what a class act. Backup quarterback at Alabama.
That's incredible. You know, I called my kids and told them about that story. It's awesome for all young athletes out there sticking it out, handling it the way he did.
Well, there's Zach Ertz, and he's chasing history. Of course, Jason Witten, guy standing next to me, 110 receptions in 2012. That is the record for a tight end. It's a whole lot of barbecue sauce that you poured on that season there, Witt. But Zach Ertz, he likes the Philly cheese whiz. And he's closing in on that record, sitting there at 86 receptions right now. He is on pace to make history this year.
Something tells me that record is going to get broken with.
As Wentz did a good job just to secure that ball.
And that's the chemistry to have right there. I love this kid. I hope he breaks every one of my records that I have. I mean, he is just a special guy. I will say, though, you know, it gets pretty cold up here in the city. You know, it gets tougher.
Bad weather in
They start
December.
double covering you and all that kind of stuff. It's not as easy.
Don't start hating on the kid, man.
Listen,
Come on now.
Listen, records are meant to be broken, and that's the case. And Zach Ertz, I've watched him a lot. You know, the greatest compliment I can say is my last couple years when I would study, and I was very particular who I would study, he was one of the guys I looked at because I loved how he loved football. He's a student of the game. He plays over 95% of the plays. He's really improved as a blocker.
You were studying the young guy. Josh Adams, little stutter step, and then taken down by Strowman. Lisa.
Hey, Tess. Well, the Washington training staff has been working on Colt McCoy's right ankle since he came off the field. No official word on his status, but Mark Sanchez is now up and warming up.
How about that, Mark Sanchez? Return here to Philly. He signed Sanchez. He has familiarity and overlap with the coaching staff in Washington. Matt Cavanaugh, offensive coordinator, was the Jets quarterback coach when Sanchez played in New York. That was one of the deciding factors. So Sanchez warming up on the Redskins sideline as it's a 3rd and 6 here for Wentz. Pocket collapsing, and he goes down as a flag is down at the 36. Payne and Brown collapsing on Wentz.
Holding defense, number 36. They are penalty automatic, first down.
Boy, he's trying to play Zach Ertz man-to-man. He's jumping inside like that. You see the stem of Ertz, and then he gets back on top of him. It's a good route, and Swearinger's having a hard time. He's playing off of him. I think with Ertz, you got to get right up on the line of scrimmage. You got to be physical with him, disrupt him early, because tight ends, they don't have that speed, and it forces the quarterbacks to get off of him.
A costly penalty for Washington. Play action on first down. Wentz with a strike and yet another catch for Ertz. 20-yard reception.
Well, it's a good call by Doug Peterson. He's going to take both tight ends and put them on a play action. And he lets first tight end take it. And you see the movement. He goes in and out and back in and then back out. And he finds that area. Big radius, catch radius there that Carson can lean on him. And they do it a number of different ways. We've seen him do the run-pass option. We've seen him be split out wide. He's the traditional tight end. He's the tight end off the ball. High football IQ, Zach Ertz.
Sproles trying to wiggle free, makes his way to the 43. Lisa, anything else with McCoy and Sanchez you can offer?
Yeah, Tess, Colt McCoy just went back to the locker room. Washington is saying it's a right lower leg injury. His return is questionable, but I saw him when he got up and tried to throw, tried to backpedal, said to the training staff, I can't. That's when he headed back.
And you can see the noticeable limp there as Mark Sanchez loosening up. He's the number 5 overall pick all the way back in 2009 out of USC. Second and 7. Wentz beyond Aguilar. As Moreau was in coverage, and Wentz wishes he had that one back.
Well, Tess, that's the thing I've been waiting to see more from this Philadelphia Eagle offense. Everyone wants to talk about what's different from last year to this year. For me, it's throwing the football down the field, getting Aguilar and Jeffrey more involved. Redskins play man-to-man. They run a little pick route, and Carson Wentz just a little bit off on his deep ball. Something to watch for. Josh Norman has been following Alshon Jeffrey a lot tonight. He's matched up against him once again at the bottom of the screen.
Third and 7, pressure on Wentz, and somehow gets it complete as he finds Matthews, and a flag is down at the 33. It was McPhee coming in hard on Wentz.
Pass interference, offense, number 80, 10-yard penalty, and repeat, third down.
They're going to call that on Matthews when he's coming in there, and they're playing man-to-man. And so when you do that, it's a good stem inside. Then you got to capture the outside. Once you get to the top of it, gotta be careful extending that arm. You know, when Moreau falls down like that, they're going to call it every single time.
Might have been a nice sell job there by Moreau, too. I don't know if he pushed it that hard.
Yeah, but once you capture, I'm with you, but once you capture that outside shoulder,
right,
just give the little flipper and break out. You got him beat. You got the leverage you want.
Is that how you got away with the pass interference?
Absolutely.
Third and 17. Wentz drives the ball incomplete, as it was a little too high for Aguilar. Moreau with coverage again.
So now if you're Jay Gruden, look, Mark Sanchez has been there less than 2 weeks, right? So the playbook, that cheesecake menu that you have, that thing's out the window. You got to regroup, and you got to simplify the plan because he's been there less than 2 weeks. And this is where the challenge of being the head coach and the play caller, you have to understand, you know, what he does well. And Jay Gruden said that. We wanted to give him reps during this time, too, as the backup quarterback, so he feels comfortable.
Johnson with a knuckleballer, as Harris will secure it inside the 10. And that means Mark Sanchez is going to come in and play quarterback now. It never ends for Jay Gruden when it comes to injuries. We just saw Colt McCoy leave the game moments ago. Of course, Alex Smith on IR after breaking his leg, and started this year with The good-looking rookie Darius Geis, Kelly and Richardson. Trey Quinn is out tonight. Crowder, Thompson, they both missed multiple games. Both starting guards. Laval, Brandon Sheriff, both on IR. And now Colt McCoy walks off the field with a lower leg injury. And here comes Mark Sanchez, who they signed on November 19th. Mark Sanchez, his last game action was here, week 17 of 2016 at the Eagles with the Cowboys. He's back. Adrian Peterson is going to help him. Look at the 33-year-old Adrian Peterson. A 90-yard touchdown. And with that comes history for AD all day. 106 career rushing touchdowns now.
Well, I talked about he's going to be a one-cut system. It's inside zone. He makes that one cut. His lineman gets the blocks on the second level, and he's gone. He still has that speed. You know, he has that ability. He's one of those guys. He's wired differently. Big, long strider. He's done it for a long time. And you know what Mark Sanchez's best friend is going to be the rest of this game is that running game in Adrian Peterson.
After all those years, all the runs, all the records, that is a career long for Adrian Peterson. 90-yard touchdown run. Peterson never had a 90-yard run in his great career at Oklahoma, nor in the NFL. And then moments ago, here at 33 years old, with Mark Sanchez coming in to play quarterback on the first play, there he goes.
He's going to get a lot more carries tonight. I mean, you know, what an addition he's been to this offense. You know, they made this guy, Hall of Famer, go through a workout back early in the year, and he is not disappointed.
It's Corey Clement on the return as he bounces and then gets a little extra yards. Now, I want to tell you about the history for Peterson because I've mentioned 106 career rushing touchdowns now. So now he gets to sit with this group of all-time rushing gods. Emmett, of course, #1 in rushing touchdowns, but he just tied Jim Brown. By the way, all 5 of those men sitting up there, first ballot Hall of Famers.
I think Adrian Peterson is going to add to that list, Tess.
106 career rushing touchdowns. And what a way to tie Jim Brown with a 90-yarder. Wentz was trying to find Ertz in stride.
Yeah, we talked about earlier, he's missed a couple of these throws. That was the run-pass option off of that. And listen, we're talking about Ertz. He gets Ertz on Ryan Kerrigan. One-on-one on Ryan Kerrigan. That may be another one that goes to the house. Just like we saw Peterson. He can't miss on those throws.
But Whit, if we think about what's the difference with Carson Wentz, isn't it that the ability to hit Aguilar on that go route down the sideline, the ability to hit Ertz? He's got to be able to do that. He did it last year, not doing it this year.
Adams trying to probe and find something. Instead, he's written down by Preston Smith.
And I think when you're coming off an injury like that, Boog, you know, it becomes challenging because your first live reps is in real games.
Right.
And so you got to step into those throws, and all your rehab is about, you know, having that stability in the knee and getting confidence with that. And he talked about, he really felt like he improved his arm strength, his leg strength, but then he's got to have that ability.
Look at the limp of Colt McCoy. Redskins starting quarterback. And headed off after being hit in the right lower leg. 3rd down and 9. And there he connects with Jeffrey for a first down.
You know, and Josh Norman has been matched up quite a few times tonight against Alshon Jeffrey. Norman is a better off corner. He doesn't want to get up and play physical press man-to-man. Alshon Jeffrey, nice release, and he beats Josh Norman like a drum. I would come back to this matchup often if I were the Philadelphia Eagles.
And he's got inside leverage on Jeffrey, right? Jeffrey's not a speed player. So just play that inside hip. Do not allow him to then come back inside. It's all about technique for Josh Norman when he's pressing him like that.
With that inside leverage at 6'3", nearly 220 pounds, works out pretty well, doesn't it? Here's Wentz Once again downfield, and once again Aguilar was the target, and it's a chunk play for Philadelphia. As that goes for 39 yards.
Well, it's a play action, and good job by Clement to pick up this blitz right there by Brown. And then Wentz getting outside the pocket. That's what he's done best. We talked about last year, you know, he was an MVP candidate. It was plays like this, the accuracy to hit Aguilar on the play action. When the play breaks down, extending it.
It's just really uncanny to find a guy that size to be able to move like that and throw with that accuracy on the run. That's what makes Carson Wentz special.
Pretty special there. Clement. As he is ridden down at the 20-yard line that time by McPhee. Lisa, what can you tell us about that scene we just saw?
Yeah, Tess, what you saw just a few moments ago was Colt McCoy coming out of the X-ray room here at Lincoln Financial Field. And what you saw is what I saw. He looked like he was in a considerable amount of pain, noticing considerably. When I have an official word on his status, I will let you know.
Thank you, Lisa. You know, Colt talked about the opportunity, this stage of his career, 5 years in this system, 9-year, gets the chance with Smith injured. And now they're left with Mark Sanchez at quarterback. And 2nd and 7. As working his way inside the 5 is Ertz.
Ertz has just got such good feel. He's going to block it, and then he gets the play action, just a little bootleg, getting him on the edge. And he gets Anderson the ability to sell it. He blocks it 1001, 1002, and then lets him go. And it's a feel thing. You can't really teach that of how long you got to hold those blocks on those bootlegs, but you know, the best tight ends, they understand it, and Zach Ertz does it better than anyone.
Got 5 receptions. By the way, Ryan Anderson's still down at the end of that play. We talked about the relationship he's had with you. And there's that jersey. And he put out the tweet when you retired. He said, thank you for being someone as a 17-year-old kid from California. I could say that's who I want to be when I grow up. And like you, the secret's in the dirt. I think everybody on this crew hears the secret is in the dirt about 50 times a week. Explain the jersey story here, that 82 there.
Well, he had been asking me for my jersey for quite some time, and you know, I didn't know that it was going to be my last game, and I was going to be coming up here to join you in the booth, but you know, it was my last game up here, and it was a gut-wrenching game because we weren't going to the postseason, and they were going on the playoff run, and I just admire him, and for him, he's communicated that over the years of how much he appreciates me and studying my tape, and you know, I wanted to give him that jersey.
And you weren't one of these guys that did the jersey swap thing. That's the only time you've done it, and it's the final jersey of your career.
Yeah, you know, I never was one of those that kind of went back and forth with the jersey swap. You know, I kind of got in the locker room soon after the game, and that was the only one I did. So Zach Ertz got my last jersey and my only jersey swap.
And now he's on pace to beat your all-time record in a single season. Here we go, 1st and goal. On the slant, incomplete. As he was trying to connect with Matthews.
You know, Tess, we asked him what, you know, where that jersey was yesterday.
Yeah,
we were talking about it. And, you know, he told us, he said, hey, it's in my closet. And I said, you know what happened? He went and won a Super Bowl, so that jersey just got thrown away, you know.
Who
cares about that jersey?
Got to frame that thing with. What are we looking here on 2nd and goal, Boog?
You know, Tess, for me, if I'm the Redskins, I'm going to bring pressure up in the A-gaps to make Carson Wentz uncomfortable. Look at the top of the screen. You got an inverted stack with Aguilar and Jeffrey.
As Adams can't find anything that time. There was a wall in front of him, and then Kerrigan coming from behind. That's a loss of 1. So it'll be 3rd and goal.
You know, and for the Eagles, I mean, they started out with that great first drive on both sides. The touchdown, then they got to stop on the 3 and out. And then they got back there and they really kind of slowed down. They ran it on 3rd and 4, dropped the shotgun snap. They had some bad penalties and then allowed that 90-yard run. You need to score here, or those Boo Birds will be coming out in a hurry. Working the tight ends at the top of the screen. You got both of them up top, and Zach Ertz going in motion. That's a matchup in man-to-man coverage.
False start. Offense, number 86. 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
Zach just got aggressive there. He was coming off that motion A lot of times when you're coming off motion, you know it's man-to-man coverage. You want to get running. You want to use the motion to your advantage. And obviously, he left way too early.
See how the Redskins play Zach Ertz and Alshon Jeffrey at the bottom of the screen together.
Jeffrey has 2 catches on 3rd down. Here's a 3rd and goal. Wentz. Just short was Aguilar.
You know, and Doug Peterson's gone for it on 4th down more than anybody in the NFL. He's been aggressive since he's got here in 2016. I expect him to do the same right now.
Yeah, he didn't even look at the kicker. He's looking at his play sheet.
You see the Eagles' numbers on 4th down since 2006. As I mentioned, Doug Peterson, that has been his signature.
Interesting, though, Whit, they take Zach Ertz out of the game on this crucial 4th down.
We get the timeout used here. Now, this game so critical. You sit there and you think about where the Skins were a couple of weeks ago. And now the Cowboys and what they've been doing defensively and the upset of the Saints. And there are the Cowboys at 7-5. Skins still at that 6-win plateau. And the Eagles, the comeback victory against the Giants. And then the road ahead. And you see where the opportunity lies with Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia, you look at it, I mean, they can win tonight, and then next week they got Dallas. And Dallas is red hot. You know, you look at how that defense is playing. And those 2 young linebackers, and Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch, and they're getting healthy. You know, expect Sean Lee to get back, Tyron Smith. Cowboys are rolling, but the Eagles, in a lot of ways, they can kind of flip the script with a win tonight and then next week against the Cowboys.
Now the 4th and goal.
No Zach Ertz on the field.
It's Adams, and he is taken down by Brown. A tackle for loss on 4th and goal. Manusky's defense shuts him down.
You know, Tess, sometimes you can get creative offensively, but you got to block the guy. You got to block Zach Brown coming off the short edge. Pretty easy tackle for him to make.
Zach Brown with the big play. Adams nowhere to go. It's a big moment for the Redskins as they have a 3-point lead, keeping the Eagles from scoring there thanks to big number 53, Zach Brown.
And right now, if you're this Eagles defense, you got to be ready to stop the run.
Peterson barely getting out of the end zone. Brandon Graham.
Let's take a look at Zach Brown on the end. This was the crucial 4th down. The Eagles don't even block him. You got to think that there was a missed assignment, or the running back Adams has got to bounce it outside. I know Doug Peterson is very creative, but he's not that creative to leave Zach Brown unblocked on a crucial 4th down.
But, Buggy, there's nothing special about that call. I mean,
right.
You're going to go for it in 4th and short. You know, scheme up a play. I'm okay with running the ball, but you got to get it on the perimeter. The best thing about Washington defense is those front 3.
Yep, inside.
And they try to run right in the heart of it.
Welcome back to the league, Mark Sanchez, as the ball's barely cresting out from beyond the goal line, and this crowd here in Philly is roaring. Sanchez, not even close. So Sanchez first pass attempt. By the way, with that pass attempt, Sanchez now the 2nd player to throw a pass for now 3 NFC East teams. He's done it with the Eagles, Cowboys, and now Skins. Rodney Peete, the other.
Yeah, and for Mark Sanchez, it's run the football. Obviously, when you're in backed up like this, it's quick game. Bootlegs, get him outside the pocket, and no butt fumbles.
But, guys, think about this.
That'd be a bad time for it right here.
Think about this. Last week, he only knew 15 plays. So how many could he know this week? 30, 35? The playbook is limited with Mark Sanchez, and you got to think that if you're Jim Schwartz, you know that. You want to make sure you bring a lot of pressure and make him make quick decisions.
And the play clock running down with that pressure situation, utilizing the timeout. Tonight's Points of View is brought to you by CDW.
You know, one of the things that makes Carson Wentz incredible is his ability not only to drop back, but to extend plays and scramble and be Houdini and find Golden Tate in the end zone. Last year, his ability to do this and get the football down the field, that's been the big difference from last year to this year with this Eagles offense. If he can get it back this year, there's still an opportunity for this team to make the postseason.
What an opportunity for Wentz to get the ball right back with great field position if his defense can come up with a stop here.
And now it's time for this front four of the Eagles to heat it up. They're built on defense up front. Fletcher Cox, Michael Bennett, Chris Long, let's heat them up.
Sanchez going to keep it simple here with Davis, who cuts back to the inside and reaches out to give them some breathing room to punt away.
Now the Eagles just got to understand where they're at in the field and where they're at in this game. You're going to get the ball in good field position here before the half. Capitalize on it. You know, don't be conservative. You're going to go for it and not take the points. Be aggressive with that approach.
Tressway is top 10 in the league in net average. Let's see if he can turn one over here and drive it downfield, as Sproles is going to come up to the 46 to field this and crosses midfield and dances his way along that sideline. 14-yard return for Darren Sproles. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Burger King. Get 10 crispy chicken nuggets for just $1 only at Burger King. That is the Miracle on 13th Street. That's the 1600 block of South 13th Street in Philly. 17th year they've done the annual lights display. Just holiday time of the year.
It's just a great time of year. The lights are out. You got Christmas carolers, Tess. Come on.
Or for wit, watching Vince Vaughn holiday movies.
Like Wedding Crashers. Oh.
He was reciting 4 Christmases last night at dinner. That's right. Going to keep this thing PG.
One of my favorites, Tess.
Oh.
So after the goal line stand, they get the ball back here before the 2-minute warning as they go with the screen at Clement. Blockers in front, choosing his direction, goes to the outside and goes ahead for 11 yards.
And that's the aggressive play call you want from Doug Peterson. Understand it's man-to-man coverage. Get them running, your receivers running crossing routes, and then come back with a screen pass. And the best thing about it, getting their most athletic lineman out in space, their center, Jason Kelsey, with a big block.
2-minute warning. Philly trailing by 3 at home. This halftime show will be coming your way. We will hear from Susie, Lewis Riddick, and Steve Young. Interested to hear what they think of what the hopes are for the Redskins offense now with Sanchez at quarterback. Remember that exclusive trailer, Marvel Studios Captain Marvel, also coming your way. And it's quickly to the outside to Tate. And another flag is down, this at the 40-yard line.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 37. This 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play and an automatic first down.
That's tagged on Stroman, the rookie out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and Peters trying to come back and get him. He's just got it. The ball's out. Can't hit him in the back there. Stroman. And that's the Redskins. I just want to see them play with a little bit more detail. In critical times of the game, they have plays like that where they don't get a block. The guy goes unblocked inside the gap or on the edge there, the penalty.
And now look at how it's served right up for Philadelphia. Already inside the 15 here. Minute 54 before the half. Sproles in the backfield with Wentz.
Self-inflicted wounds. They just have too many of them, that Washington defense.
And here is Sproles. Look at Kelsey working downfield, and Sproles spins his way into the end zone. Well earned by Jason Kelsey, the center, and welcome back Darren Sproles. 14-yard score.
You know, Tess, Darren Sproles is going to get a lot of the credit, and deservedly so, because when he comes back, he brings juice. But watch the center, number 62, Kelsey. First he pulls, and then he gets up on the linebacker, Mason Foster, and he rides him for about 12 yards, and then Sproles does the rest.
And then finds more work. This is textbook and effort.
But it's how he does it. I mean, he goes around the guard. He's like he's pulling. He's not just going upfield. Kelsey's athletic, getting to the second level. Sproles does the rest.
Remember, he's a former power running back at University of Cincinnati. He was a walk-on. He still had that hard work ethic to this day. First team All-Pro a year ago and paving the way for Darren Sproles.
And that's the creativity we talked about with this Eagles offense. You don't want to slam it up against the inside guys of Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Allow your center, who's about 285 pounds on a great day, to get outside. And Sproles, coming back from injury, to find him. To me, nice execution, nice play call by Doug Peterson.
As the Eagles retake the lead, the goal line stand. Washington offense goes nowhere, forcing them to punt from the end zone. Field position, penalty, and then Sproles, as he has been absent from this offense since week 1, but returned to practice this week. He's dealing with a hamstring. Hadn't practiced since November 7th, and out of game action since week 1. Reminder that the Genesis halftime show is coming up, and we will have that exclusive trailer. Marvel Studios, Captain Marvel, and then a special performance, Black Thought, featuring Tish Hyman. And Susie Colbert, Louis Riddick, and Steve Young will be with you for the Genesis halftime show.
And now for Washington, the challenge of playing quarterback and only being there 2 weeks, not only the communication, now you're in a 2-minute potential situation. And the signals, getting in and out of the huddle if you do go a hurry up. And I'd be surprised if they do that a little bit. Try to get a first down or 2 before you go into that, because you got to communicate all that. He's lucky to know what the play is.
Yeah.
Now to give the signals on the road with this pass rush, that's a lot to ask from a quarterback that's been there less than 2 weeks.
Colt McCoy leaves the game injured. Mark Sanchez, the quarterback, and he hits on the slant to Doxson.
And now you get into your 2-minute mode after the big catch. Jim Schwartz played a little man-to-man coverage on the outside. Surprised by that. I'd make Mark Sanchez have to go the distance on me. Play zone, keep it underneath, and make him beat you.
Guy who hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in over 3 years. Week 12 of 2015, the last time that Sanchez threw a touchdown pass. And ridden down by Graham. One of the heroes of last year's Super Bowl, all but clinching the game with his strip sack of Tom Brady back then.
Graham just comes up and underneath. He's going against Trent Williams. He goes to the bull, he plays that inside, and then comes back. And when those offensive linemen, they get on different levels, meaning they're not on the same side, and then they cannot pass that off when the defensive end, Brandon Graham, comes back underneath.
Philly will use a timeout here with 1:09 remaining.
You know, if you're the Washington Redskins, you're kind of caught in a conundrum. You have really your third quarterback now in Mark Sanchez. But in order to take advantage of this Eagle defense, you want to attack their secondary. They played last week without their top 5 corners, and number 6 got hurt during the game. So the weakness of this defense is on the back end. So Mark Sanchez is going to have to throw the football down the field with, whether it's man-to-man or zone, in my opinion, to move the ball.
We're going to get an update as to the health of Colt McCoy at the half.
Well, we just saw Jay Gruden. He had his call sheet, then he had another piece of paper. And that's probably plays that he saw that said, Mark Sanchez said, these are the ones that I want to run. These are what I feel comfortable doing.
So he goes from that big laminated menu you're talking about to probably an index card with.
Absolutely.
2nd and 17, and underneath this time as he goes to Jamison Crowder, who, you know, on that injury list, this is a guy who missed the last 7 weeks with a sprained ankle. And another timeout will be utilized by the Eagles here, as they hope to get another crack at it. 3rd down coming up. It'll be 3rd and 7. And 1:11 remaining here in this first half. First half that saw Philadelphia come down, strike first with Golden Tate. And Washington had the 90-yard run by Adrian Peterson. They had a 10-7 lead, and then Sproles moments ago with the touchdown run.
And how aggressive do you get if you're Jay Gruden? It's 14-10, you're in your 3rd quarterback. You got to feel pretty good about how you play. Do you get really aggressive here, or do you run a safe play, punt it, and allow your defense to play to try to get in the half?
Third down and 7. Sanchez, as he goes to Reed, and Reed with that body going back and leaning for it, is right at that line to make. Sullivan and Jenkins, who are trying to keep him from that mark.
Washington.
And Washington will use a timeout here.
Well, that was really good game management by Jay Gruden right there. What happened was he gave a high percentage throws. 3rd and 7, he wants to capitalize. Certainly he's trying to get the first down. But the one thing he was doing was it's high percentage, so you can catch it. If you don't get the first, you punt, with Philadelphia having no more timeouts. The clock runs, and they have to go a long way. You get the first down, now you have 2 timeouts. And he called it right away, giving his team a chance now with the ball at the 45-yard line and another timeout in his back pocket.
And notice where the throws are going. All the throws are across the middle of the field for Mark Sanchez. Right in front of him where he doesn't have to read and make the long throws. Nice design there by Jay Gruden also.
32-year-old who was signed on November 19th. And needed somebody to back up Colt McCoy. And here is Sanchez. Steps up in the pocket and gets it complete again to Crowder. 11 yards there, and now Washington is in business. Now here is Sanchez working the 2-minute offense. His last touchdown pass inside the first half's 2-minute warning came in week 6 of 2012. 2012. Sanchez, little shallow cross, and out of bounds goes Crowder for 5 more yards. So Sanchez has them on the go.
And Sanchez is doing a good job here. He's stepping up inside the pocket and understands what he's going to do. Crossing routes, avoiding that rush, textbook. And now he doesn't need to do too much, right? You would obviously like to have a touchdown in this area, but don't try to come in and be a hero here. Don't force the ball. Don't take sacks. Just keep managing it, just like he's doing.
Yeah, just step in and go 6 of 7 for 62 yards and put your team in position here with 34 seconds to go.
Might be time for the Eagles to heat him up. He looks a little too comfortable back there.
2nd and 5. He's going to take a shot to the end zone, but beyond the outstretched arms of Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson one-on-one on the outside. And off coverage there. He tried to close on it and then get on the outside. Before he goes to that outside and gets on the edge, Sanchez just overthrew it a little bit. I like for him to stack it. That wide receiver, just stack it up there, Dotson, before you capitalize on it.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles maybe brought a little pressure, try to knock the Redskins out of field goal range here.
3rd and 5. Tried to quickly get it out. Now he escapes. Ball is floating in the air, and it is incomplete. Michael Floyd came in and broke up what could have been an interception, as Nigel Bradham was quick to get on Sanchez at the end of that.
They just can't do that. They're actually trying to fake the little quick rocket screen and try to steal one up the seam there. And he just, once he extended, he got lucky. That didn't get intercepted, but Floyd almost had it.
You know, it's kind of what happens, guy. Like when you don't play a lot, your internal clock doesn't run fast enough. It doesn't speed up, and I think Mark Sanchez got caught there.
Hopkins hit from 44 earlier, this from 47. Good job by Mark Sanchez to put them in position. And Hopkins closes it to a 1-point game. Now, the NFC playoff picture, obviously, we're focused in on the NFC East here, the Cowboys and what that defense has been able to do. Huge win against the Saints, and then Seattle. Don't look now, but there's Seattle coming on strong, had the big road win and demolished San Francisco yesterday, and we're going to have a critical game with Seattle and Minnesota next week on Monday Night Football. Vikes went east to Foxborough. They now sit at 6-5-1. And Seattle in position to really do something down the stretch here. Of course, the Chiefs await in a couple weeks, but 49ers and Cardinals struggling this year, and then that big game in the NFC playoff picture with the Vikings next week.
Yeah, and that's going to be old school football. I mean, Seattle's running the ball better than anybody in the National Football League. And guess what kind of defense? They didn't play well last night. Minnesota up in, going against New England. They struggled a little bit, but the last 4 or 5 weeks, That Mike Zimmer defense for Minnesota has been top-notch.
Oh, and congratulations to Tom Brady on 1,000 career rushing yards. It's amazing what can be done over a 19-year span. And we'll get you that update as to what's going on with Colt McCoy. This guy here, Carson Wentz, 159 passing yards in the first half. And the touchdown pass to Golden Tate to start our scoring tonight.
Yeah, what more could you want? I mean, NFC East rivals, 1-point game. Playoff hopes are on the line.
We'll take a knee here. We're going to go in at 14-13. And touchdown for Washington was the 90-yarder by Adrian Peterson, the oldest player in NFL history with a 90-plus yard touchdown run. Also the first player with a 90-yard rush against the Eagles in history. The Redskins are going to get the ball to start the second half. Zach Ertz is chasing Witten's history as we're going to join Susie Colbert for the Genesis halftime show starting right now.
These are divisional rivals, right? And there's nothing like playing in these type of games in December.
To the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown by Golden Tate.
Great job, kid. That's how we do it.
You see a little limp out of Colt McCoy. And here comes Mark Sanchez. Adrian Peterson is going to help him. A 90-yard touchdown. History for AD all day. Yeah, history is that he's now top 5 in rushing touchdowns in NFL history. 106 right there. So we got a 14-13 Eagles lead here as Philly comes out through that tunnel. Joe and Jason with you here. So no Alex Smith, you knew that coming in. Breaks his leg a couple weeks ago. Colt McCoy didn't have much practice time. Finally gets the full week. He leaves with the injury. I never thought I'd be saying, and here comes Mark Sanchez on Monday Night Football this year. But here he is. Whip, what's the answer for the Redskins?
Well, you're going to have to lean on that running game. I mean, he's been in this Washington's facility for less than 2 weeks. Yeah. So you got to stay ahead of the chains. And one thing about being out of football, playing the quarterback position, is it happens fast. So look for him to get quick passing game. Jordan Reed, Chris Thompson, those guys, and stay ahead of the chains. That's critical going against this pass rush for Philadelphia.
Kay Jewelers Extraordinary Moments. It is Wentz to Ertz. Say that a lot, don't we? 5 times tonight.
Well, he's just playing so well. They get the running game going, and then they come back with the play action. They've dropped 7, doesn't matter. Ertz knows exactly where to go. And then the art of playing the position. Selling the block, throwing him on the inside, doing the rest with his legs. He's well on track to break that record, and he's playing at a high level again tonight.
Now, the record you speak of is your all-time mark of 110 catches in a single season for a tight end. He is actually just 2 catches now away from breaking the single season Eagles record of 90 catches. It was Brian Westbrook who set that in 2007. Let's check in with Lisa.
Hey, Tess, well, it's horrible news for Colt McCoy. Results of those x-rays showed a fractured right fibula. His season is now over. So disappointing for him, because when we met with him last night at the team hotel, he actually got kind of emotional talking about how much he was looking forward to this opportunity. He said he waited for so long and was so excited about the chance to show that he could still play in this league, and now that chance has been taken away from him. I asked Jay Gruden about it, and he said just heartbreaking. He said we worked so hard with both Alex Smith and Colt McCoy. Both of those guys go down. He said we still got to play, but it's devastating.
Lisa, you captured that well. He was getting emotional last night, talking about 9 years in the league, had the opportunity early on in his NFL career with the Browns, 13 starts there, and then 5 years now in the system with Jay Gruden. They have a very close relationship, and he felt confident to step up in this moment down the stretch with the playoff picture shaping up and replacing Alex Smith, and now we get word of the fractured leg.
And as a backup quarterback, that's the only thing you hope for. He said he hadn't been on a team this good in his career. They were 6-4 going into it. He had a chance, and it was heartbreaking for him. He's a true pro.
As Sanchez gives to Peterson, who tries to reverse course and finally is taken down by Blue Jay Hill. Another injury news, by the way, Jonathan Cooper, former teammate of yours who was playing left guard, Without already out, the starting left guard, he is out injured as well.
And guys, one more thing on Colt McCoy. Think about this. When he hurt his ankle, he actually came back and played a couple of more plays. It just shows you how he tried to fight through to be out there on the field for his team.
And this is what Washington wanted to avoid for Mark Sanchez. 3rd and 11 coming out of the half. It's not the start. You got to protect it and then allow his receivers to do it with the run after catch.
3rd and 11 for Sanchez. Sanchez nearly tripped up. Gets it downfield, and on the sideline looking to find Doxson. As they're talking this over, they're saying incomplete. Flag is also down back at the 31-yard line.
You see
Pass
Doxson.
was ruled incomplete. An eligible member of the offense downfield prior to the pass, number 69. This penalty be declined. The result of the play will be 4th down.
And that's what happens when the quarterback extends sometimes, and such was the case there. And by the way, this Redskins offense now, they struggle on these first drives of second halves. Haven't scored a touchdown in the first drive of second half now in the last 24 games. That is the longest streak in the NFL. As Sproles is back deep for the Eagles, and he calls for the fair catch at about the 24. Zach Ertz, glad to have him wearing that Monday Night Mike tonight.
Start fast. Let's put a stamp on this game. Let's go. Good block. Big block. Love you, brother. Hey!
Put a stamp on this game.
You know, just recognizing good block. Love you, brother. Talked to Carson earlier about trust. He's really stepping up as a leader, too, for this football team.
There's the other young leader, Wentz, as he quickly gets it to Aguilar, who tried to turn the corner, is taken down by the veteran Josh Norman. And you know, Norman's always willing to talk a little bit. I remember we had Monday Night Football down there in New Orleans. Norman was benched for a series in that game, Week 5. Reportedly was wearing headphones while Jay Gruden was speaking to the team at halftime.
You don't want to do that one. And I think more than anything else, it's just he hasn't played as well as they expected him to this year. You know, getting up and playing press man-to-man. He's got to challenge these guys in this defense.
2nd and 5 now. Clement working that edge well with good convoy of blockers, including Kelsey and Seumalo.
Just run the wide zone. They're going to get him on the edge here and blocking this. And when they do that, they don't want to run on the inside with the strength of this Washington defense. So getting on the perimeter, making these guys run sideline to sideline is important for this Philly offense. Nice block by the rookie tight end, Goddard.
And they don't even block the middle linebacker, Mason Foster, because they're saying our back can get to the corner before Foster can, just taking advantage of Foster not being an elite speed guy.
And if he does run, here comes the RPO in behind it, Boog.
There's Wentz on 1st down. Just an easy pitch and catch to Golden Tate. Remember, Tate had the touchdown earlier tonight. This goes for 13 yards. Wentz so relaxed.
Well, he's going to really get on the edge there with his mobility. Got it with another big block on Kerrigan. And he's very accurate outside of the pocket. That's one of the things he does. And I think he doesn't want to take those hits and running the football. That's a priority for Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. But this is what he does best, is extending these plays and then playing quarterback from outside the pocket. Now you got Ertz going on Brown on the outside.
You've been highlighting the matchup against linebackers as it goes underneath and then speeds ahead and is wrestled down for 10 yards there. And that was against Zach Brown and add to his total.
Well, that's just pitch and catch. I mean, you know, he's got the bib on when he goes there. He's slobbering on that one because, you know, Zach Brown, that's a matchup. Zach's a good linebacker inside, but putting him out in space making him cover Ertz, split out, and just look how much versatility Zach Ertz has, is being inside as a traditional tight end and then doing it on the edge as a receiver.
Able to field that ball off the ground and tackled for a loss was Adams. Now, you had that relationship with Tony Romo, the quarterback tight end relationship, and you can see what's developed here with Wentz and Ertz.
Well, it's the chemistry. I mean, the tight end. I mean, not only is he his #1 target, #1 weapon, but they build it. It starts with their love for football. They go about life similar. They're great friends. You know, Zach was in Carson's wedding this all season, and I'm telling you, I had experience there. Tony and I came in together, and a dear friend, and you know, to go through life and as a football player and having that quarterback, and what happens is you just share stories. You text, hey, what do you think about that look, that coverage? And you work at your craft, and that's what these two are doing.
Second 14, and crossing over is Aguilar. Let's listen in to more with Zach Ertz.
Well, I think when you think about that with him, he's just an incredible player in how he does it because he's so unique.
Cars!
Hear him calling out to Carson. Third down and 9. Shaking free is Tate. Golden Tate dragging Puttendix with him down to the 5-yard line.
You know, the Redskins bring a little pressure there, trying to force the issue, playing a little one-on-one on the outside. You got the rookie Stroman man-to-man against Tate. He misses the tackle, and now Tate, who's a physical runner, loves to run after the catch. He's elite at that, and he can get it done, especially when he gets one-on-one in the open field.
First and goal. It's Golden Tate. He's finding himself here in that Eagles uniform after coming over with the trade with the Lions for a 3rd-round pick. First and goal. That ball is intercepted by Josh Norman. And Norman's still on his feet. Big return from the end zone for Josh Norman, his 3rd pick of the year. Big moment just when they needed it. Wentz picked off. Nope, Carson Wentz just got picked off by the runner-up of Dancing with the Stars. Big moment for Josh Norman. He went dancing, didn't he?
Yeah, and well, he played this good man-to-man coverage. He jumps underneath it. The ball should have gone outside with the cover 1. The whole player, Mason Foster, but get Josh Norman credit. Playing underneath, seeing the ball make a difference, making the play in the red zone with that interception. Josh Norman, he does have a unique ball skills. That's what type of player he is. He's antsy, he's aggressive, and you saw there, he really jumped that one underneath.
4th red zone turnover this season for the Eagles. Keeping it simple now for Sanchez as he goes to Jordan Reed.
Yeah, you just got to love Josh Norman hanging in there. He started the season not even being their best corner. That was Quentin Dunbar. He took that over, but Norman has kind of hung in there and gotten better and better, and he's doing things that he may not be comfortable with. He's an off corner. He wants to watch the quarterback and play in that zone. They're asking him to play a little bit more man-to-man, press, physical. Nice job there on Jeffrey.
Now this is getting even worse for the Redskins as Tony Bergstrom, who's the starting right guard, who's filling in for Brandon Sheriff, the 2-time Pro Bowler who's on IR with a torn pec. He is being attended to by the medical staff. Now keep in mind, Jonathan Cooper left the game injured as well. That's the other guard who was a backup to Laval, the starter. They've been decimated on the interior of that offensive line. Well, that's big 66.
Ooh.
Fletcher Cox coming down on the back of his leg.
Boog, you might have to strap it up. You'd be a good wide zone right guard.
No, baby.
Boog's
no.
got too skinny.
No, they can't afford Boog no more.
Peterson, double jump cut, and then surging ahead for 3 yards and right to that stick.
But if you're Washington, yeah, a lot of people are injured, but this is how you have to play this game coming down the stretch. Run the football with Adrian Peterson, shorten the game, keep the clock moving, because right now you're at a disadvantage. Mark Sanchez only knows a handful of plays, so you're going to have to make sure that he's comfortable in the plays that you're calling and shorten the game and play to your defense.
There is Daniel Snyder, owner of the Redskins. Bruce Allen, the team president, as they watch on with Mark Sanchez playing quarterback now. That didn't look too pretty, did it? As Jamison Crowder is tackled by LeBlanc. You talk about the limited exposure to the playbook and execution and practice time. How about that?
Well, that was just like the Bad News Bears there. He's going to flip it. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, hey,
he's lucky. He's fortunate just to get away with that. I don't think he timed up the motion for Crowder, obviously.
I think the only guy that could give the better analysis would be the bellman across the street who saw you yesterday when you got to Philadelphia. But what'd that guy say to you?
He screamed it out. He said, "Hey, Witten, I thought maybe I had a Cowboys fan up here or something." He said, "You suck."
Yeah, welcome to Philly. You suck. 2nd and 15.
Oh.
False start, offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
You know, though, Tess, when you come in here as a young player on the road, I mean, it starts on the bus ride. You know, eggs are hitting the bus. You know, you look out the window, there's a 90-year-old grandma, white hair. She's giving you the double birds. Fans are screaming at you, but I tell you what.
I mean, those bellmen in Philly, Whit, now. You got to watch yourself in this town.
These fans love me compared to what's going on in Twitter right now. And Philly fans hate me. They've hated me for a long time.
2nd and 20. Sanchez once again just goes underneath to Reed. Of course, you've had some moments here that got their attention, like this back in 2007. Helmet comes off. Whit, you keep your balance?
I don't even know if I kept my balance. He just kept me out there and scat right. Pump 370. Love that call. It's my favorite play off the Y option.
Here's what
looking at you.
Here's what I'd love to know. How'd your helmet come off so easy? Don't you strap that thing up, man? Come on.
3rd and 13. Eagles fans looking for a stop against Mark Sanchez and the Skins. He's going to play underneath again with Thompson out of the backfield. And that just goes for 6 there.
And it's just smart by the Eagle defense. You got a
Vernon Davis.
Quarterback you got a quarterback that doesn't know all the offense. It's 3rd and long. You drop back, play coverage, throw the football underneath. And now, if you're Carson Wentz in this Eagle offense, you got to get something going. You can't let the Redskins hang around when they're decimated with injury and on their 3rd quarterback.
Redskins 5th time, 3rd and 10 or longer, and they're 0 for 5 tonight. Wood, you're making me laugh at the end of that classic play here in Philly. I mean, this may be what like Lomachenko's opponent looks like on Saturday night up at Madison Square Garden. Look at you there. Blood coming out of the nose. Tough guy 82. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. Really a beautiful night here with our aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Mild temperatures in Philly. Early December. 14-13 lead for the Eagles here in the 3rd. And here's the running back who was born in North Philly, Josh Adams, as he's able to get to the outside. The rookie out of Notre Dame, who's been coming on as the years moved along, 18 yards.
Well, good patience on this one. His tight end's going to come back across and make that block, and he allows that to happen, and then he gets on the outside. And look, you know, the Super Bowl champs playing against his 3rd-string quarterback, and Sanchez beat up offensive line. The self-inflicted wounds of what hurt him there with the getting stuffed in the 4th and 1, and then the interception going to the wrong guy down in the red zone. They've got to get the drive back going with play action and controlling the line of scrimmage.
Play action for Wentz as it's incomplete. You know, Josh Adams, we told you, he's a local guy. He's born premature, 6 weeks premature. Moved out to the suburbs at age 4 to Warrington. Had hernia surgery, dealt with asthma as a child. This is a guy who used to do cartwheels, they said, when he was called to answer a question in class. Great personality, and then started Central Bucks South High School. It's about 30 miles away from here at Lincoln Financial Field. Had a great year at Notre Dame, and then there was a foot fracture that was found in the pre-draft medicals, and then stock tumbled, went undrafted, and now he's been good undrafted free agent rookie for the Eagles. As they come with the screen of Clement, and Corey Clement weaving his way past midfield. 23 yards there.
Watch Jason Kelce on this screen pass, though. He's going to be the center, and he's going to get out on this screen pass after they go, like they're going to run the bootleg to Aguilar, come back out, and Kelce getting in space, making a big block on the edge. Linemen that can run, that's the key to your screen game.
Wentz hooks up again with Ertz.
Kelce, we talked about him. He's been a key factor tonight. On the screenplay earlier, getting on Foster, staying on blocks. You know how hard that is for these linemen, not knowing where the ball hits, and then running the draw, pulling around, athletic center. Rare to find guys that can climb up on that second level and have the athleticism to go make those blocks.
And then go on to wear a lime green Mummers costume. The outrageous scene from the Super Bowl parade from Jason Kelce.
And he's one of the smaller centers in the league, only about 285, guys.
I think we got to consider that when Witt goes into Canton with the gold jacket, that costume that Kelce wore. There's Ertz. Yes, he's out of bounds, and that'll move the chains. Set up the fact that he was going after the single-season Eagles record, and now at 92 receptions, there it is. The all-time single-season mark in Philadelphia Eagles history. 92 catches this year for Zach Ertz.
You know, we talk a lot about Kelce and Gronkowski. I think it's time to put Ertz in that same conversation among the best tight ends in the National Football League.
Wentz incomplete that time and was looking for a very good-looking tight end prospect in the rookie Goddard. And then, of course, the next conversation becomes the all-time single-season record by a tight end. Jason has that at 110 catches. But, a month to play for Zach Ertz, sitting at 92 now. But the barbecue sauce that you put on that 2012 season to the Cheese Whiz that's popular with the Philly cheesesteaks here was Zach Ertz. Sproles able to split and sprint and get himself to the 26 before Brown and Moreau were able to find him.
You know, Ertz is going to break that record. Now his focus now is on getting his team in the postseason, and what he needs to do is just one possession here. He's got to keep making those plays. You saw him come out on that previous play, and Goddard falls down running the same route.
And take a quick injury timeout here. Fabian Moreau was the injured Redskins player. He's able to walk off the field. Taking a look at him. Here's what happened at the end of that play as you see Zach Brown coming in.
Tess, we call that friendly fire when your own guy hits you like that.
So Danny Johnson, the rookie out of Southern, will step in and lock down that corner spot to the near side here on 3rd and 5 for the Eagles. Sproles in the backfield with Wentz. Had a lot of time to find Alshon Jeffrey for a first down.
Yeah, in Washington, they got to pick that up. I mean, they're playing zone coverage, so they pass it off, and Zach Brown and Foster there, the linebackers, they got to pick it up. It's right there. The drag route, that's a critical third down. Can hold them to 3. Just got to make that play.
But it's a weakness of this Washington Redskins defense, the middle linebackers, Brown and Foster. They have limited athletic ability and limited awareness in pass coverage, and it showed there.
All 3 of Jeffrey's catches come to third downs to convert them to a fresh set of downs. As Adams reverses course, and then they're able to come up and find him. That was Greg Stroman. Can they solve some of these red zone struggles tonight? Peterson calls it in here. Final seconds ticking down in this third quarter. Tenth play of this drive for Philly. As we hit double zeros. We'll be looking to march in when we start the 4th. And the NFL pay tribute to our armed forces through the salute to service. Ben Kawika is the Redskins special teams coach. Ben's a West Point graduate, spent 8 years, Bronze Star Medal, captain of Army football when they had a 10-win team back in '96. Defeated Navy in '96 to win the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. Army-Navy coming up here at Lincoln Financial Field this coming weekend. How about that Army team this year? 9-2. And College Game Day, Reese and the guys will be at Army-Navy. Always one of the best shows of the year, as Clement is weaving his way for 14 yards to start this 4th quarter here in Philly. Critical game for NFC playoff position.
Well, it's just another screen pass. They get Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey up on the linebackers, creating space for him and going to get in the first down. And now they need to finish. They're in the red zone. They've been brutal in the red zone tonight with how they've played the turnover and getting stopped on the 4th and 1. They need to capitalize here.
1st and goal. And they find a little separation from this pesky Washington team. Wentz looks left on the slant and into the end zone. Jordan Matthews framed up against the rookie Danny Johnson, and he got the best of him.
Well, what they do is they get a pick route, so Aguilar's going to go up, and Matthews is just going to come right underneath it. And when you do that, good job by Aguilar understanding Matthews with the patience and an accurate throw by Carson Wentz.
And keep that offense on the field with it already being a 7-point margin. They're going to choose to go for 2 here. Try to make this thing a 9-point game. Wentz sprint right and reaching down and corralling it and going in is Tate.
And that's why Tate's here. I mean, he is so good at those situations, making tough catches at the critical time and making it a 2-possession game.
Now there's the leadership of the Redskins. Owner Daniel Snyder, team president Bruce Allen. Their team trailing by 9 here in the 4th quarter. They've had a lot to deal with recently. Major news. On Sunday, November 25th, San Francisco 49ers released the off-trouble linebacker Reuben Foster. That was the day after his recent arrest at their team hotel in Tampa on 1 count of misdemeanor domestic violence battery. Last Tuesday, the Redskins then claimed Foster. They were the only NFL team to put in a waiver claim. Now, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell placed Foster on his exempt list, meaning he cannot practice or play while under investigation. Our production team was able to speak to the Washington Redskins president, Bruce Allen, who you just saw there. And we talked to him very directly about that claim of Foster. As Sanchez goes to Floyd. And considering that conversation, let's bring in Lisa, who has more.
Yeah, Tess, well, our question was, why take the risk on a player who has so much baggage? And Bruce Allen said that the team, they really did their own investigating into the alleged incident. That Bruce Allen, he has a lot of contacts down in Tampa. Remember, he was the GM there from 2004 to 2008. He said after Washington gathered its own information, they felt comfortable that they had heard a side of the Foster story that is different. I asked Allen, can whatever great play he might bring to your team outweigh the bad PR? He said, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Well, I want to bring Booger and Jason into this conversation here. So the Redskins willing to take a chance on Reuben Foster. Should they have?
100% no. I believe the Washington Redskins used horrendous judgment in claiming this guy. And I understand that it's an ongoing investigation, but my family's been affected by domestic violence. I understand the anguish that it causes. And, you know, young players just have to understand that there is no tolerance for putting your hands on a woman, period.
Yeah, Jason, you've been very open through the years and former winner of the NFL Man of the Year for what you have done in your life. And there are a few men, as we'll listen to Tony Parenti for a moment.
Offense, number 69, 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
Few men I've ever known in my life who are more impacted and life disrupted by the impact of domestic violence in your childhood. So we appreciate that. I know it comes from a very highly educated place on the subject matter. Also comes with a lot of emotion from you, Boog.
I completely agree with you, Whit. There under no circumstances should you ever put your hand on a woman whatsoever. And I think the NFL needs a more stringent policy when it comes to domestic violence. Make the punishment worse. Make it something that, if it does come up, that the NFL will punish you so bad that you don't want to be involved in it anymore. I think that's the only way you're going to be able to get rid of this.
So Nathan Gary, the interception of Mark Sanchez. And Philadelphia looking to put this game away. I'll tell you, this has been great to see with the NFL players showcasing their passions beyond the game, with the cleats doing the talking. My cause, my cleats, supporting charitable causes with the custom design cleats. Look at some of these designs here, some of the artwork. And you can discover how players are making such a difference in their communities, and bid on the special edition cleats at NFL.com/mycause. My cleats.
You know, guys, you see that right there at the cleats, just following up from our story, you know, and what we were talking about earlier. I mean, there are a lot of guys in the NFL that are doing a lot of good.
Yeah.
And I was in that locker room for 15 years just coming off of it, and that shouldn't go unnoticed, but guys have to understand the platform and the responsibility in society.
So after the interception by Nathan Gary, we'll start off at the 35-yard line here, and a flea flicker to do so. And it goes incomplete as they had coverage on Jeffrey. You know, we had that discussion about Reuben Foster, obviously in the wake of the news surrounding Kareem Hunt. And, Boog, you brought up the NFL and, you know, under fire at times with the handling of domestic violence. But let's advance it to what can be done to help curb the fundamental problem of domestic violence involving NFL players.
Well, I think, you know, NFL takes a lot of criticism, but I do know that they're working to educate, to provide around-the-clock services for these guys to understand that, you know what, whatever you experience in your life, you now have a chance to change that and, you know, break that cycle and use that as a platform to be different in that. And, you know, I think guys have to understand that, you know, and what we're seeing around the league, that there's no tolerance for it. There cannot be. It has to be unwavering. And I just think it sent the wrong message when the Redskins claimed Reuben Foster, because, you know, and as I said, I understand that it's ongoing, but, you know, this isn't his first time with this happening.
You know, we talk about domestic violence in the NFL like it's an NFL problem. It's not. It's a societal problem. And if the NFL really wants to do away with it in their league, they're going to have to figure out a way to make the punishment a lot tougher. That way the Redskins or any other team won't feel comfortable at taking the risk and dealing with the public outcry, because they feel comfortable that they know what happened in the situation down in Tampa, that they're willing to do that and take that risk because of that comfortability of maybe getting a player on the back end. That's the only way you're going to get rid of it. But it's not just an NFL problem, guys. It's a societal problem. And I think Roger Goodell and everyone at 345 Park Avenue have to make the policy and the punishment a lot tougher.
Well said, gentlemen. It is an incomplete pass on third down. So on comes Jake Elliott. Only 5'9", but he's got textbook technique, and he's been so repeatable for the Eagles. This is a 46-yard attempt. As the turnover turns into a quick 3, 25-13, Philly. Monday Night Football is brought to you by USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. It is the holiday season here as we are in Philadelphia. Joe Tessitore, Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters. The Eagles started this fourth quarter with just a point lead, and now the touchdown from Matthews, the field goal from Elliott, and in control here. Well, that was something that happened last night with the Steelers and the Chargers, that big comeback. So this is how the AFC playoff picture looks right now. And that Chargers team sitting there at 9-3 in striking distance of the Chiefs. And you consider the remaining schedule, and they're playing with such confidence with Phillip Rivers and the guys. And, you know, there it is in Week 15 at the Chiefs. You know, Bengals team that's been struggling a bit. Tough game against the Ravens, and the Broncos with that defense that's been coming on in Week 17. But who knows? Are the Chargers the team that everybody should be paying attention to?
And Phillip Rivers, another veteran quarterback, playing some of his best football this late in his career.
Thompson, ball comes out, and he falls back on it.
You know, as it pertains to the Chargers, guys, I think they're one of the more complete teams in the National Football League. Offensively, with Rivers and Gordon and Allen. Defensively, Bosa coming back, getting healthy. Last night against the Steelers, they had a punt return for a touchdown. So we were all enamored by Patrick Mahomes, and we talk about Tom Brady. Why does this kept one of the more complete teams in the National Football League are the Los Angeles Chargers?
That 73-yarder by King was sensational, that punt return that you referenced. Allen had 148 yards receiving. That was a thrilling comeback win.
Yeah.
Down 16 at the half at Pittsburgh.
Looks like Schwartz going to bring a little pressure. Sanchez recognized it, called timeout.
And Mark Sanchez will use the timeout, trailing by 12 here, just under 11 minutes to play. If you're just joining us, obviously you know what happened with Alex Smith a couple weeks ago, the broken leg, and then Colt McCoy suffers a fractured fibula in our first half. So Mark Sanchez, who was signed on November 19th, pressed into action.
You know, and Mark came to Dallas after Tony got hurt and was the backup for Dak Prescott in 2016. And so I watched him come in. He had to learn that playbook on, you know, kind of a short week. He never got thrown in there, but he's a veteran player, and he's been thrown to the fire, you know, and so he's had some adversity. And right now, you know, this Redskins football team, they need him to make a play. Problem is, they don't have a big weapon on the outside. So Vernon Davis, Jordan Reed, they're going to have to carry him across the middle and get a few first downs.
Davis, bottom of your screen. Reed split. Number 3 receiver there, as that's where he looked, but he threw it to the inside on 2nd and 14, trying to get it to Jordan Reed.
And it's just a cover 2, so it's a linebacker, and that's just where they don't have that chemistry yet. Reed broke out. Sanchez is expecting him to turn inside. And it's, you know, it's quick throws when they're in those plays. And, you know, now you're sitting in there in 3rd and long, and that just goes back to inexperience.
Now what's Kelsey doing up in the stands?
He's everywhere.
3rd down, and you're up by 11. As a defensive lineman, guys, this is my dream right here. So if you're Cox, you're Long, you're Graham, this is what you dream about right now.
How about Graham? 9 technique in the 4-point stance, but they go the other way and quickly get it out to Reed, who throws it back on the lateral. How about it? Chris Thompson just tripped up, though, that time, as Douglas smartly stayed at home.
That's what you got to do, though. I mean, Jay Gruden's trying to pull them all out.
And how deep in the bag is he going with?
You know, I'm surprised Douglas just throw the quick screen. You know, Jordan Reed's the emergency quarterback. Went to Florida to play a little quarterback. And tell you what, Trent Williams almost got that block. He would have been gone.
Sproles tripped up. Nicholson with the tackle and coverage there. Good play by Douglas moments ago. This game, that's going to help clear things up with the NFC East race to next week. Another game with the NFC playoff scene. You got Kirk Cousins, the Vikings, Russell Wilson, the Seahawks. We'll get going at 8:15 Eastern. Susie in the gang. We'll have Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern from out in Seattle. The Vikes lost to the Patriots yesterday, and there is Seattle at 7-5. Now Josh Adams going to test that left side. He's not finding much there except for Preston Smith waiting on him.
You know, but one thing they found with Josh Adams is a guy that can be a physical runner inside. We forget last year, LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, guys that they had that they could run the football. And you talked about it earlier. They want to get the RPO game, the stretch game, the play action. Well, the only way play action work, guys, if you can run the football. And so Adams gives them that added element that they were missing early in the season once Ajayi got hurt.
Ajayi out for the season. An ACL tear. It was week 5 that happened. Adams has stepped up. 2nd and 8. Wentz comes near side, and Tate spins his way and dances just beyond Clinton Dix. You know, size things up with the Eagles. They got the 12-point lead here. Next week, the game against Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, look, Dallas is really hot, but they go and win tonight. They got a chance against Dallas to get themselves back into it. So we just talked about the Vikings-Seahawks game next week. That's all going to impact the Eagles' wild card or potentially them winning the division. So they can still control it. It's just, what's the formula? What's different than last year? Tonight at times they've done it, but too many self-inflicted wounds at critical times.
3rd down and 1. As Wentz is going to pass on 3rd and 1, but when it's Zach Ertz and Wentz connecting, it looks pretty easy, doesn't it?
You know, talking to Doug Peterson before the game, the one thing he said was that these 2 weeks were going to kind of make or break their season. Tonight and then next week at Dallas, you see Wentz on a little rollout, a little pick route there. Aguilar sets a pick, throws to Wentz's favorite guy in the world, Zach Ertz. And that's stealing right there. But that's the formula for the Eagles team. Allow Carson Wentz to manipulate the pocket, get outside, but they're going to have to get somebody else involved besides Zach Ertz with.
Adams. Flag reins in as he crosses midfield.
Holding defense number 93. This 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play and an automatic first down.
You know, Boog, you said that about Zach Ertz, and just every great tight end will have somebody on the outside. Right. You know, you cannot be a good tight end. I experienced it without a top wide receiver on the outside. And you think about the other guys of, you know, Kelsey and who he has, and Tyreek Hill, and you think of Gronkowski and Julian Edelman. And so for Travis Kelce, I think that's why they brought Golden Tate here. They're trying to do it by committee, and tonight is really kind of his Golden Tate's coming out party here in Philadelphia.
He's been targeted 6 times. He's had 6 receptions, the touchdown, 79 yards of offense. And Tate's going to add to it a bit here.
And that's how they want to use him. The quick game, the little quick screens, intermediate routes. And then use Jeffrey for those big throws, because he's kind of the 50-50 target. That's who they want to go to on the outside. And then Aguilar is in the slot. He's got good speed coming into his own here the last couple years.
You know, I just think they have to stretch the field, open the offense up a little bit more. Carson Wentz is not running as much this year, and I understand it, and probably rightfully so because of the knee. So what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to manufacture offense, throwing the football down the field. I don't think you can deke and dunk your way to the playoffs in this division.
Here's Adams again, just a little hesitation, then engaging and getting inside the 30, and another first down for Philadelphia. It's funny, we had that 90-yard touchdown run by Adrian Peterson earlier today. And maybe there was some hope for the Redskins. But since then, they've had 25 plays for only 82 yards. And meanwhile, the Eagles offense, little by little, finding momentum, especially here in this fourth quarter. They've had 41 plays since that big run by Peterson for 302 yards. Rams ahead for 3 that time. A little something extra from Mason Foster and Zach Ertz. And now the finger pointing.
You know, guys, we talk a lot about this Eagles team and where they're going. What about the other side in the Redskins? You know, Jay Gruden, he's had a couple of years where the players, his primary players, have been injured. This year they've been decimated, the offensive line, now 2 quarterbacks. I just wonder, and I hope they give Jay Gruden enough time where he can get a healthy roster to see really what this full roster can be for him, because right now it's not looking good, and the injuries are playing a huge part of that.
Oh, the injuries, I mean, it is a tidal wave of injuries for Washington this season. Smallwood comes in as the running back on 2nd and 7. As they show jet motion, come back and try to set up the tight end screen, and Dallas Goedert, the rookie out of South Dakota State.
And think about that, Bo, to your point. 1 playoff appearance in 5 years for Jay Gruden. And then on the flip side of it, Mike McCarthy gets fired yesterday, and he took him 9 postseasons in 11 seasons. So, I mean, that just tells you just how different organizations go about it. I was so surprised to see Mike McCarthy get let go.
Well, what did you think of the timing of a Super Bowl winning coach being fired in season?
I didn't like it. You know, I mean, he's done so much. This is his 2nd losing season so far, you know, in 12 years. It's incredible what he's done, winning a Super Bowl title.
3rd and 7. As he's just going to burn it. Look, what was your take on what went down in Green Bay?
Well, Tess, here's the thing I'll say. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And I think it was the right time to fire Mike McCarthy. If you look at the relationship between he and Aaron Rodgers, let's just go back to the Buffalo game after the game when they won, where Aaron Rodgers questions the play calling. Well, who's calling the plays and who's in charge of the offense? It's Mike McCarthy. So that's an offense and that's a relationship that has been toxic. And so in my opinion, the Packers made the right decision. It's never a wrong time, guys, to do the right thing. It was time for Mike McCarthy to go.
You got to give him a chance to finish out the year. I mean, for what he's brought to that organization.
44-yard attempt from Elliott goes through, and now it's 28-13.
But Whit, here's the thing I would say, Whit. If you know what the inevitability is going to be at the end, why would you allow him to hang around? And that's why I think it was the right time, you know, for him. If you're Mike McCarthy, you're probably going to get another job. There are a lot of young quarterbacks out there that can use a veteran coach and some of the tools that he gave Aaron Rodgers. So I agree, maybe it's a bad timing situation, but if you know it's coming, go ahead and get rid of it.
You know, it's an interesting point you bring up that you think we're going to have McCarthy gets another job. I don't know that this is a great year to be on the open market with coaches. I mean, some of these precocious coordinators, are they quite seasoned enough yet? You hear some of the names out there. I mean, Chris Richard, defensive coordinator at Cowboys, all of a sudden is looking like somebody people may be interested in. But it's an offensive trend in the league. And yet the defensive coordinator is getting attention.
Well, I think offensive coaches, it's such an important role. You know, that's where this kind of league's going. And some of that's college guys. But Chris Richard, if anybody watched that game on Thursday night, going against that powerful Saints offense, he's a name that's going to get a lot of attention.
He's got that Pete Carroll pedigree. Was with Seattle. Marinelli turned things over to him a month plus ago in terms of the defensive play calling, and that defense has been masterful. That is the defense that Philadelphia will see next week. There's been other names thrown out there. John DeFilippo is a coordinator who's had some promise in the course of the past year that people have been talking about. And then some of the college coaches, and that's where the game has really been going, to so many of the college offenses and high-octane stuff we've been seeing.
And Tess, I'll throw another name out there.
Please.
What about Jim Caldwell, a guy who was pretty successful? He's an offensive guy. And so I think as we move toward the offensive market, and guys like Lincoln Riley and David Shaw and all these guys' names are going to come up, I think it's important to make sure you just get the right guy. And so for the Packers, they've made a decision, and now they can start their process along with the Cleveland Browns.
speaking of getting on the open market, the Redskins are going to have to figure things out at quarterback. Sanchez is the lone man standing right now, and he was just signed a few weeks ago as he was trying to connect with Chris Thompson. So Alex Smith gets injured back on November 18th, and this was the group that worked out, the free agents that they were taking a look at. They went with Sanchez because there was, you know, some overlap with the coaching staff, guys who were with the Jets when Sanchez was there. Remember, he was the number 5 overall pick back in 2009. Thought that he'd be familiar a bit with the basic construct of the offense. Colt McCoy played against Dallas, started tonight, but he fractured his right leg tonight in unfortunate circumstances that we saw in the first half.
And you got to, I mean, you're looking at that list. I mean, it's hard to think one of those guys is going to come in and help you, you know, get into the postseason. So, I mean, that's the whole dilemma going back to training camp of, you know, I mean, do you keep 3 quarterbacks when you're doing that? And, you know, how all that plays out. That used to be a big deal. Now you're not seeing it as much, but, you know, who would expect that these injuries? I just feel bad for Colt McCoy. And, you know, Jay Gruden's going to regroup. As we said, he's dealt with the injury bug a lot. And you got to figure out ways to make it easy for your quarterback.
3rd and 7. Sanchez takes a deep drop and then tucks and dives ahead for the first down.
You know, one thing on the veteran quarterback, since they are still in the playoff hunt, you know, maybe that entices one of these retired guys potentially to come out and say, hey, you know, I want to give it a shot. And
yeah, maybe not behind this offensive line, though, with both guards being hurt from the beginning of the season.
And then 2 more tonight.
Yeah.
They have patchwork the offensive line tonight.
Yeah, and number 91, Fletcher Cox, is starting to feast right now. Like, this is a defensive lineman's dream. You're up 15 points. It's the 4th quarter. How many sacks do I have? Let me see if I can add to that tonight. All we're thinking about right now is sacks.
Yeah, I loved when we visited with Fletcher Cox the other day, because obviously you were going up against him for years. He said he's so nice now, but then he gets out on that field. Now, I don't know, he flips that switch.
He did flip the switch. You know, Dak Prescott and him went to school together, and, you know, he just started talking all the time, you know. And I don't know. He just went on another level. I mean, this guy is just something else. I was so surprised because I heard he's all this nice guy. He's a heck of a football player, and he would not stop talking in those
ultimate
battles.
trash talk.
Oh, yeah. He was not going to be mic'd up.
Start.
No.
Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Now, that would have to be an ESPN pay-per-view if we did the Monday Night Mike with Fletcher Cox. He's a heck of a player, though. Eagles team captain. Got that big 6-year extension a few years ago. 4th most guaranteed money for a defensive player in the league, Fletcher Cox.
And Tess, think about this. He feels like he's underrated because when we talk about the best defensive tackles in the game, we stop and start with Aaron Donald, okay? And for Fletcher Cox, he doesn't get mentioned a lot. He's up there in the same category. He's a top 5 defensive tackle in the National Football League when you look at guys like Donald, K1 Short. But let's compare him to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's a speed guy. He gets off the edge and he hits the gap quick. He's about 6'1", about 280 pounds. You compare him to Fletcher Cox, he's 6'4", 310. He's country strong. He pushes the pocket and he plays with power. 2 different players, but they're both top 5 defensive tackles in football. I got to tell you, Fletcher, I'm telling you tonight, baby, you're right up there in the same category as Mr. Aaron Donald and K1 Short and Geno Atkins.
Hey, Boog, I want to have a quick Aaron Donald conversation with you here after this 3rd and 13, because what I'm seeing out of him right now is just on a different plane right now. And flag comes in 16.5 sacks. I know that we have a year.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
We have a year with so many incredible MVP candidates everywhere you look on offense. The quarterbacks, Gurley, everything we've seen. But this year that Aaron Donald is having, and what he's doing to disrupt opposing offenses with the 16.5 sacks, the 4 first fumbles, he is everywhere all the time in the backfield. And he's doing that as an interior defensive lineman on a team that may be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Well, not only is he doing that on that kind of team, Tess, think about this. He's getting double teamed.
Now there is Cox.
Exactly. He's getting double teamed 70% of the time, Tess. And so I think when you start talking about the MVP, he's definitely the defensive player of the year.
And it's
multiple fouls on the play against the offense. Holding. Offense number 71. This has been declined. Illegal use of the hands, hands of the face. Offense, number 79. This has been declined. Result of the play creates 4th down.
Yeah, it's very rare that we stretch the conversation of MVP to that place of a defensive player. You think back to, you know, like an Alan Page in the early 70s. Obviously, Lawrence Taylor in '86 is all time. But let's see how the stretch run of this season goes, and if Aaron Donald keeps up this pace, because he is sublimely talented. And his way is on to punts, and Sproles back to return. And Eagles fans have been roaring throughout this 4th quarter. Total Replay is brought to you by DXL.
Well, it was really the play of the second half for them, the Eagles. They run the pick route. Aguilar sets it. Matthews has the patience to come under it. And the pick route happens naturally. And Wentz, accurate throw in the red zone. He learned from it earlier when he missed on it. Josh Norman intercepted him, and he responded like a veteran.
Wentz is going over 300 yards. Got a couple of touchdowns. And the Eagles are going to be coasting their way to a 6-6 mark with that showdown coming up in Dallas. And they have protected him well. He has dropped back 39 times tonight, and they haven't allowed a sack. It's Clinton Dix with the tackle of Adams.
You know, a lot of people talk about what's the winning formula, and for the Eagles, what's different? This is that formula for them. This is exactly it. Win the time of possession, be good early, and then stop their offense or run an attack with your defensive line. They're number 1 in the league in rush defense. They're in a lot of times last year. So that's the formula for this Eagles football team.
Well, and let me add to the formula. How about stay healthy? Because Jason Peters, the 9-time Pro Bowler, is now limping off the field. He's been dealing with injuries this year. And it was this game, in fact, the Monday Night Football game at home over Washington, that win, when he was injured last year. As you look at the top of your screen there, he got caught up with Jason Kelce. Remember, he had the ACL and the MCL. He was carted off the field. It was an emotional scene in the Monday Nighter against Washington last year here.
And it's got to be frustrating for him. Here's a guy who was a tight end in college, Tess, and now he's a Hall of Fame tackle. And the injury bug is just starting to bite him at the end of his career. You can tell the frustration. I'm looking at his face right now, just so frustrating for him.
And the torn biceps this year. You can see the frustration as he limps off here as we are working our way towards the 2-minute warning. He's so critical to their success.
You know, I believe on the Washington side and Trent Williams, we have the best left tackle in football when healthy right now. Jason Peters, in my opinion, was that for a long, long time, and he'll be a Hall of Famer. Just wish him well toward the end of his career from his health standpoint.
2-minute warning. Would have been a great 4th quarter for Philly. When we started this 4th quarter, it was just a 1-point margin, but the Eagles have stretched this thing out 28-13. Good night out of Carson Wentz. Over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Targeted Zach Ertz 10 times tonight, 9 receptions for 83 yards. Central piece of that guy's offense, Doug Peterson, the Super Bowl championship winning head coach who so many doubted. Then he penned the book, his memoir Fearless, How an Underdog Becomes a Champion, came out this year. As Clement with a good run.
And I think that's what, you know, when Booger was referencing on, when they win a Super Bowl, then everybody starts doing all these other things. They get pulled in many different directions. This team hasn't won 2 games in a row all year. They're 5-6. Now they have it in front of them. Got the Redskins tonight, win that one. Now they're going to go down and play the Cowboys, who are rolling. They're hot. So they got to regroup, and that's the formula for them. Carson Wentz is getting comfortable. He's in command. It wasn't perfect. If their defense can come on, they got a real shot at this thing. But Doug Peterson finally rallying his team back in and saying, hey, it's time to hunker down if we want to compete in this division.
See, I teed you up for a book review there, because Peterson was so impressed that you actually read his book this offseason.
Yeah, you know, he's a humble guy. I did read his book. I think he's a sharp guy. I like how he approached it, you know, as a young coach. He wasn't ready early on. He learned under Andy Reid, and It's a unique opportunity for him, and a lot of people did question it. And it hasn't been perfect for him early, and I tell you what, though, he had a heck of a Super Bowl on that run with that football team and his backup quarterback, and he is a fearless coach.
You know, and I think that's the biggest issue. You know, when you win the Super Bowl, you have 53 guys that you bring together as a team, and then you split apart, and now we become individuals again. And the toughest part for that coach is to get those individuals to buy back in as a team. A really good win tonight for the Eagles. Now, can they be consistent? Can they go to Dallas and be consistent with a healthy Carson Wentz against a hot Cowboys defense that Rob Marinelli and Chris Richard have playing well? That'll be the key. Can they win 2 in a row, Whit?
And the tough part there is, do they have a corner that can stop Amari Cooper? Because he is tough. You saw it last Thursday, what he did against the Redskins. And this beat-up secondary, Jim Schwartz going to have to help him, because Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper have things clicking.
Jim Schwartz, his 3rd year as Philly's defensive coordinator, has been so banged up in that defensive backfield. It's a good win in a classic division rivalry, and now they have won 2 straight. As the Redskins were held to just 36 yards in the second half here. On a night when Washington lost Colt McCoy with a fractured fibula. Mark Sanchez had to step in. Adrian Peterson made history, now 106 career rushing touchdowns, had the 90-yarder, but it was all about Wentz and Ertz and that Eagles defense as they move their mark now to 6-6. 28-13 our final. Next week we're going to be in Seattle. We got Russell Wilson and the Seahawks against Kirk Cousins and the Vikings in another pivotal NFC matchup. We invite you to stay tuned for the GMC post-game report on SportsCenter. For Jason Witten, Booger McFarland, and Lisa Salters, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night, including time with SVP to preview what is coming up on SportsCenter. Take it away, Scotty.
Tess, thanks. The Eagles take care of business. What's that do for the path to the playoffs for them? We'll tell you who has got the inside track in both conferences with a month-long sprint to the playoffs. One team that will not be making them, Green Bay. What's next for the Packers? That's the subject of One Big Thing. Plus, Monday, of course, means bad beats. We break into a little new ground tonight. Northridge, I see you. SportsCenter starts in 3 minutes.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.